This is not intended to be good legislation. It's intended to be a power grab. And even the free speech pieces of it are opposed by the ACLU as unconstitutional. And the voting pieces not only enshrine some of the loosest and most problematic practices of the COVID years, but they do them all everywhere. So you don't have states deciding what works best for us. You have Washington dictating one-size-fits-all federal takeover of elections, including public financing, which they pay for out of a crime victims fund. It's just there's very little in here that should be in here. And there isn't a good reason not to continue to leave this responsibility where it has been for a long time, and that's with the states.
Federalizing elections just seems like such a terrible idea. First of all, I don't think the federal government would be very good at it.
Well, rarely are they. And, let's just use an analogy on another issue right now, the minimum wage. And I won't go into the substance of it, but just the federal piece of it. Does the same minimum wage in New York make sense in Arkansas? I mean, I think any listener can think and go, well, that strikes me as a little like a bad fit. Mm-hmm. The other thing about doing things in Washington, they're no smarter or wiser than anybody in any of the states, but it is much, much harder to undo. And we also lose the benefit of the laboratories of democracy, which the founders expected the states to serve as. And frankly, they all did a lot of different things in the last year or two due to COVID. And others, they were watching each other. I can tell you because one of the agencies in the Department of Homeland Security that I oversaw, CISA, of course, an acronym for the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, worked with all of the election officials in all 50 states, bipartisan, had a lot of good interaction and communication, and they definitely learn from one another. And they bring those practices from state to state when it fits their state. H.R. 1 completely undoes that, completely blocks it, and forbids certain practices that are overwhelmingly favored, things like showing an identification to prove who you are to vote. That is a strong majority supported position in any demographic, no matter how you break up polls. Democrats favor that. Republicans favor it. Black, white, Hispanic. Everybody favors it. H.R. 1 bans it. It forbids states from doing that. It forbids anything but signature verification, and it sets up a situation where with mandated same-day registration, where I'll take Virginia, where I live. We open the polls at 6 a.m. I could start going to the poll, farthest from me, the other side of the state, at 6 a.m., walk in, say, I am Ken Smith. They cannot require ID of me. All they can require is a signature identification, and I will sign Ken Smith, go in and vote. And then I'll drive to the next poll, and I'll say I'm Ken Jones, and all they can require of me, same-day registration, which they can't check out in every precinct. There's no security for this. I can go around poll by poll by poll, voting all over the place. And no one's ever going to catch that, especially if large numbers of people are doing that. These verification procedures have been developed by Republican and Democrat secretaries of state. They work when they're used. They're not discriminatory. And to the extent people have those concerns, and I have those concerns, I am in Virginia, after all. We have quite a history on that front. Each one of them is overcomeable. For instance, the photo ID. The way Virginia and other states have set this up when it was required was they literally put together a team that would go to your house to give you a government ID for free. So the accessibility can be addressed where that is a concern as well. But all of that gets wiped out if H.R. 1 becomes the law.
Well, I have to imagine that even Democratic secretaries of state are eager to hold on to their authority over elections. Are they organizing to get on board to oppose the measure?
That is a great question, Julie, and it's literally coming and going so fast that I'm not sure the answer of that yet. I would note that there are the state AGs, which I pay attention to, also have concerns. But this is going so fast. The House didn't even have hearings. They didn't even have hearings. They went straight to the floor with this 800-page bill with no committee review, no opportunity for America to kind of mull it over one provision at a time. And that was quite intentional. Pelosi is rushing this through because she views it critically as a power grab, not legislation to make America better. And, power grabs don't look better the more time you spend with them. So they abandoned hearings. When was the last time you can remember a major piece of legislation rushing through the House that didn't have hearings? Well, that's how bad this bill is. They don't want to give you the time to look at it.
It seems unlikely to pass, though.
Well, it's unlikely to pass. Now let's move to the Senate. In the Senate, you have the filibuster. The filibuster is a rule that the Senate has had forever, as far as I know, literally as old as the Senate, that requires 60 votes out of 100, a supermajority, to close out debate on a bill. So you can't get to the final vote without 60 votes in support of the bill. And if the filibuster stays in place, there just are not going to be 60 votes in favor of this bill. And the Senate was viewed by the founders. Thomas Jefferson's analogy was a teacup. The House of Representatives was the hot teacup. And the Senate was the saucer you put some tea in to cool off. There may be a little bit of that. In the modern era, there's less cooling off. They move pretty quick too. But that filibuster with this supermajority requirement is intended to serve the same purpose. It is to reach a consensus on major changes to American law. And so what is happening is that elements of the left most interested in H.R. 1 becoming law are attacking the filibuster. But several senators on the Democrat side have made it clear that over the years, many of them have made it clear that they're very uncomfortable removing the filibuster. So what I anticipate is a bit of a boring procedural game where they weaken it but don't get rid of it. And you may see pieces of H.R. 1 go through with other legislation rather than as one bill. I do believe you are correct that as a single bill, this can't go through the Senate because I think they'll keep enough of the filibuster that won't be possible.
Yes, I think you're definitely right about that. It also seems like this legislation predates Joe Biden, so I don't think he would be putting a lot of political capital into trying to get it through, the twisting arms or doing trades. Mm-hmm.
It's been around since 2019, and all the way back to 2019 on those free speech pieces, the impairments to it, the ACLU and other groups concerned with free speech have had constitutional problems with those pieces of the bill. So they want to regulate speech in a way that, like I said, even the ACLU has serious problems with. This is a very fundamental attempt to change how we view speech in this country in the context of elections. So much so, even ACLU finds pieces unconstitutional. It adds public financing. And as I said, that money is slated to come from a crime victims fund, which actually the executive branch had already told Congress is already underfunded. So now we're gonna pull money out of it for financing campaigns instead of compensating rape victims, for instance.